Ben ritrovati mercoledì mattina sul floor del New York Stock Exchange. In questo momento indici vicinissimi alla parità, appunto seguono quella che è la tendenza riscontrata già in apertura con trattazioni. Parliamo della giornata di oggi ma anche dell'intera settimana con il mio ospite qui sul floor che è Gregory Keating, Managing Director per il floor broker James E. Coffey Security. Greg, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
So Greg, yeah, indexes, I was just saying, they are really very, very close to the closing level from yesterday. Nothing much today. Yeah, we're expecting some indications later on from the beige book from the Federal Reserve, but nothing else really.
Yeah, we're kind of treading water here. I think that's an important, important to hold the line here based on yesterday's sell-off. I think Apple was what everyone talked about yesterday, really declining and flirting with that a 10% drop from its closing high about a month ago. But it did seem to rally towards the end of the day, and I think you're seeing a little bit of resilience in the market here, kind of holding on small up here right now.
So do you think that a real correction for Apple, if we really go down that level, can have big implications on the market?
Yeah, it can. I mean, Apple's been the leader for so long, and it seems, it seems invincible from a lot of the uncertainty that is around us. Not only here but globally. So yeah, it's a leader, and any drop in that stock really can, it could be a real chink in the armor for the market.
And last night, as we know, Alcoa kicked off the earnings seasons. It beat expectations, but his forecasts for the aluminium demand for 2012 are not very good. Actually, they're really disappointed, and the share is down today. What Alcoa is telling us about the entire earnings season, do you think that is a real indication so far?
Well, I hope it's not a precursor to the earnings season, although there is some anxiety going into these earnings reports. The forecast for the S&P 500 company, their earnings, is supposed to be negative this time, and it's the first time since I believe the third quarter in 2009. So going into the earnings reports, not much momentum, obviously. Alcoa beat on the earnings, got a little bit of a pop, but as you mentioned today, it is getting hurt, and you see that with a couple other stocks. CMI is one, Chevron, the energy sector, which is really not supposed to perform, in light of these tough times right now with the oil drop. But Chevron is another one that really forecast a dire third quarter earnings report.
And as we know, by the end of the week, we're going to have the first indication by the financial sector, by the banks, and that could be really a big mover for the market.
I think so. I think if you're going to rely on third quarter earnings to prop this market up, I think financials will have to be the leader of that. So we'll wait to see J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo report Friday. So I think everyone's kind of in a holding pattern until then, I think.
And how much do you think that the economic fears are having an impact on the market? How much they're impacting the market right now? What Alcoa said really is another proof that the demand from China is waning down. And next week we're going to have also the GDP from China. Do you think that the economy will replace? I mean, all these fears about the economy will replace any good indication eventually from the earnings from the financial sector?
Well, I think you would think eventually it would have to, right? I mean, these fears, this isn't anything new that we're dealing with here, and yet the market has, it's been resilient to say the least. So eventually, I think, coupled with a bad earnings, bad earnings for the third quarter, and these these global uncertainties, along with the end of the year where the market's been up, you could see a real correction here. But I think there is nothing new what we're talking about, and yet there is still that fear. But the market keeps going higher, so it's a tough thing to figure out.
We'll see for how long, it can really go higher and higher. Well, thank you very much, Greg, for being with us.
Thank you, Lina.
E grazie a voi per l'attenzione.